Good afternoon, everyone. I'm not going to keep everyone long. I know AB's getting ready to do a premiere in about 20 minutes. I usually try to schedule like around my friends. So if anyone needs to pop out and go see what he's doing, that's fine. Whatever you need to do. My feelings won't be hurt. I want all my friends to be supported too. If you guys hear my dog whining in the background, he is in trouble right now. It's my pit. He had to go in timeout because he went out and got in the mud. So, yes, he's in his crate. My animals are treated with as much love as my children. So, if you hear him whining, it's just because he's having a temper tantrum. So, welcome everyone. I hope you guys have had an amazing weekend. There's been a lot going on. I missed the excitement last night, but I spent all morning catching up. I guess I kind of lied in the description, right? Like I said we would have an intent to keep the drama out, but can we really do that? Honestly, in this situation, because we've got dog drama, we've got bone drama, we've got trashing my friend drama. So naturally, I have something to say about it. So let me say hi to everyone. I actually started on time. I'm getting better at this. Hello, Air 404, your main girl, Lippy, Helena Handbasket. Indy, Luda, Momo, Angry Mimi, Persephone, Salty C, Sandra, Cindy, Julie, Jiggy, Donnie, Summer, Purple Knights. Hello, hello. So glad you guys are here. Morris, MD has questions. Lady R, Wind Dancer, hello. Sky, Ray, TJ, Rhonda, hey Jude. So, like, where do I even begin, right? I guess the best place to begin is just to jump right in and make the best of it. So, this started, right? Because I've never had any problems with this creator. I've never had any problems with Ziggy. I remember the first chat of hers that I was in. I remember the day specifically. I was driving down the road. Infamous Truth Teller was there. This is when she first came onto the scene. She was still very new, very small. I hadn't had my channel very long. But we all know that back in the beginning, I was going head to head with a male creator. That's no secret. He doesn't like me. I don't like him. We just kind of coexist. No big deal. Well, he was giving her a hard time. And this is back when I was very vocal about him. And I popped in the chat and was kind of listening to what was going on. And, I gave her a few pointers on how to deal with them. At that point, she didn't have any mods. And then I ended up being modded on her channel. And, he did come into her chat and was giving her a hard time. So I've been in her chats every once in a while. It was just a little too chaotic for me. There was a hard and fast rule that anything goes, right? You could say whatever you want in her chats. No big thing. Didn't matter who was getting trashed. I've gotten trashed in her chats before. I've seen people I care about getting trashed in her chats before, but it was just allowed, right? It was an open forum. Well, we all know that doesn't turn out well. Fast forward to her really digging in to Summer's case. We had the breaking CPS reports. And then it was just skyrocketed after that, right? The subs were rolling in by the thousands. I kind of view her channel as like a shock channel. You never know what you're going to get. That goes for the chats. That goes for the comment threads. That goes for the guests, the people on panel, other creators. She was known for that. Just always going to get, the guests on her panel. Then we saw a public blowout between her and Jenna, and I couldn't even begin to tell you what happened with all of that. And you guys, I'm sorry, I'm trying not to sniffle. It's very cold here right now, and it's supposed to be in the 70s tomorrow. It's been up and down like that for days, actually weeks. So it's wreaking havoc on my sinuses. So before anyone starts rumors that I'm doing coke or doing meth or smoking crack or whatever, no, I'm not. I just have a little cold. So now where we're at is there were some pictures of some bones. I missed that stream in real time. I was sound asleep in my bed. I've been trying to take breaks. Classes for me started back up. I try to go to bed pretty early. But from what I understood, the next morning it had everyone in a tizzy, right? As it should. Well, that stream's gone now. And the original title was An Interesting Ending to a Day with a call to TBI, FBI, and police, bones found. Okay. You've been covering Summer's case for like 4 or 5 months, however long. I don't even think she came in right at the beginning. But she's been covering it long enough to know, hey, Pollyanna, Mary, to know that, hey, Pez, haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. She's been doing it long enough to know that if you have a title like that, what's the first thing people are going to assume? They're going to assume that, one, since we already know you're in Tennessee, people are going to put 2 and 2 together and just assume that the bones that were found had to do with Summer, right? That's what I would have thought. If I would have saw the original title, I would have been like, holy hell, And then, like, after I had a minute to process it, I would have been like, well, wait a minute. They searched that area. So she had time. It takes a minute to set up a stream and title it and get everything lined up. You have enough time to process what you're putting as your title, and you have a minute to have some forethought as to what people are going to interpret that as. But it didn't stop. She had a moment right there where she could have stopped, and she didn't. She continued on. And I have timestamps. That stream is gone now. She took it down, but I have timestamps. So we're just going to walk through it, and then I'm going to get to the point that addresses the investigation part of it. So right away, we have number 1. The title had bones in it. She did change the title to Day Ending with Call to TBI and Police. Okay, 2 minutes and 39 seconds. She just jumps right in there. So eager to get going, just jumps in. Her exact words were, I saw bones today. They looked like little, yeah, it was freaky, end quote. And then we're all just kind of hanging there for 10 seconds, right? We're like, what the crap is going on? So right away, the excitement is misleading. Out of the gate, she's playing on people's emotions because we're all like in love with this little girl who's missing. We can't fathom where she could be. We just want her found. Well, at 2 minutes and 49 seconds, all we get is an, oh my gosh. Then another 20 seconds rolls by. This is when she's addressing Yennefer. At 3:04, she says, but Yeah, I found bones. Jennifer, what do you mean? I talked to you. Well, I didn't find them. Somebody else found them. I'm going to tell you. So, right then, we know that, yeah, maybe she called TBI, she called law enforcement, but she's already been talking to other people about what she found. That's a big no no. So, you haven't told us that you confirmed anything at that point, right? And this is the beginning. This is the part where you should be telling us it's not a big deal. So at this point, some of the comments were, what if Ziggy solved the case? It was meant for you to be there. Okay. So then she starts talking about her call. Like, it's very hard to get a thought out. She doesn't really complete sentences. Okay, Terry Berry, that's fine. You unsubscribed here. If you unsubscribed here, that's fine. If you unsubscribe from Ziggy or anyone else, that's fine too. So at 4 minutes 25 seconds, she starts talking about the audio. We haven't heard the audio yet, but we're hearing about it. And she said, I didn't even tell them I had audio. They asked specifically if I had any recordings. Well, why? What is so great about that? What are we supposed to think? Are we supposed to think that they're very interested in Fred Hill? Are we supposed to think that, they're really concerned about these bones? Come on, tell us, tell us. 448. Yeah, they looked small, like they didn't look like an adult person. And then there was silence. That was at 4 minutes, 48 seconds. There was silence until 5:04 when she thanked the person for the third super chat she got. At 5:10, then she speaks up and says, no, Jenny Penny, I haven't even gotten into what happened yet. It's only 5 minutes in. Well, yeah, you have told us what happened. You told us that you saw bones, but you haven't told us anything else other than they looked small, like they didn't look like an adult person. So are you saying that they look like a tiny person? What are you telling us? So in 5 minutes, she mentioned bones 3 times, plus the title had bones in it. So yes, you kind of did get into what happened at that point. At 5:23, we go in another direction. Why was there a rumor Candace was arrested? Just out of nowhere. So, like, I'm thinking, rein it back in, girl. Tell us about these bones. Let's get to this story. I hadn't even heard that Candace had been arrested. But you have to understand, Ziggy, that you've just told a lot of people that you found bones, and then you follow that up with, why is there a rumor that Candace got arrested? So do you see how that kind of implies that the two go hand in hand? So you're already misleading your audience. Hi, Tammy Lynn. So did you ever even go back and address that rumor? Have you confirmed that that rumor was out there? Have you gotten to the bottom of it yet? Get back to me on that there, Zig. At 5 minutes, 36 seconds, I didn't find them, but Fred Hill brought me to them. Yes, I spoke to Fred Hill, guys. It was so awesome. I talked to Fred Hill today. You do realize that he shot someone in the throat, right? Like, he, with a gun, shot another person in the throat. And it was awesome that you came face to face with this guy, because I'm pretty sure that he was probably like setting you up to look foolish. Then it's just like chit chat, dead air. 6:22, she starts explaining who Fred is. Fred is the guy that he lives on Ben Hill. This is the guy that DW has named before as a dealer and also implicated in the disappearance of Summer Wells. So that's your explanation of Fred Hill after you just got done telling us how amazing and wonderful he is? Okay. Remind me not to get your opinion on people because you would probably lead me the wrong way. And Fred doesn't even live there, right? Like he doesn't live there. And then someone asked, why didn't he turn it in to TBI immediately? Well, that question never got answered. I listened to the whole stream twice. She never answered that question. And then someone asked, is that the location that they had the campfire on the ridge? Again, crickets. Never answered that question. Now, these are like valid questions that if I saw them, which you know she watches her chat because the whole streams, like the last few days, have just been her reading chat and like having this big conversation about people. At 6 minutes and 45 seconds, boy, does Fred have some stories. Well, you going to tell us those stories or what? With a sprinkle in of how great he is? And apparently someone in the chat was questioning because at 7 minutes and 12 seconds, we're starting to get the big reveal. Oh, I'm not lying. I have all the recordings, the pictures. I have pictures, guys. I have pics of them. Whew. 8 minutes and 46 seconds. We hear about the call. I have my call with TBI and I can play it. I just wanted to wait until more people come in because they'll be really confused. It's also where she explains that the calls, her recordings are still in the process of being downloaded so she could send them to TBI. So keep that back in your brain. But by that point, the chat's already confused, right? We know she found bones. We know that Fred Hill was involved. We know that they were too small to be an adult human. But 8 minutes and 40 seconds in, she hasn't made reference to an animal either. And we're going to get to that. 8:58. I know everyone is really excited. No, nobody was excited. How could anybody be excited about bones that you found that you have so far led people to believe that they weren't an adult human and it was really freaky? And oh my gosh. So yes, your chat was thoroughly confused at that point. She starts talking about Fred and, you know, he explains to her, and her exact words were, Fred hasn't spoke to anyone. Nobody's gone up to him, only law enforcement and TBI. He's the nicest guy ever. Except for that time he shot that guy in the throat. He was just having a bad day. So people are still asking why Fred didn't contact law enforcement. You know, people are really trying to get to the bottom of why he would just like pick this random YouTuber to report these bones to instead of just immediately picking up the phone. It could be that he doesn't want law enforcement around. I mean, that would be my first guess. Usually when you're involved in criminal activity, the last phone call you're going to make is to be law enforcement. But what do I know? So they wanted to know if, you know, she could get back in touch with him. No way to contact him on the phone. He's partially deaf. So, well, that's kind of canceled out by the statement she makes later on, where she says that she has his number. Well, Queen Bish, I haven't really said anything about Ziggy, so that's fine. And you actually don't know much about me. I've never seen you in my chat before. You've probably seen me in hers, so it shouldn't bother you too much if you unsubscribe to me. And that's fine. I expect people to be mad at me for this stream, but if anyone actually just takes their feelings out of it for a second and listens to what I have to say, I'm going to explain how when Ziggy said showing pictures will not hurt an investigation, I'm going to explain exactly how that statement is untrue. Stick around if you want. If you don't want to, that's okay too. At 10 minutes, 44 seconds, she says, I couldn't push it off any longer. Well, why not? You're talking about finding bones. You're talking about finding bones in an area where there is a missing child. I would have pushed that crap off as long as I could, as long as it took to get confirmation that those were, in fact, animal bones. Or I would have at least worded it and not led people to believe for now the first almost 15 minutes that they could be something other than animal bones. Yes, Bonegate again. But we're looking at it from a different aspect. So then people start telling her that H's dad, Andy, is on another channel on a phone call, and that gets ignored, which, whatever. She starts explaining how she ran into Fred Hill, because remember, it wasn't like that he called her and said, hey, can you meet me? I would like to talk to you. Or she didn't call him. She just happened to be on the way to Allie's. Now, she had been up on Ben Hill Road earlier that day. They weren't planning on driving down it again. Then she said, oh, well, let's just drive down it again on the way to Allie's. And then Fred Hill's just there. Okay. Then they saw Yucky. They drove down the road. They saw Yucky. They stopped. Blah, blah, blah. Fred Hill, let's go look at some bones. 13:06. That's when the debate starts if Yucky's a male, whatever. She didn't know if Yucky was a male. That's just another example of putting out information before you have really confirmed anything. 14 minutes, 33 seconds. This is when it starts getting a little suspicious to me. Someone asked when he had found them. He just found them today, just discovered them right before I got there. I about fell out of my chair. So, of course, people are like, he just found them? Like, just then, like right before you just happened to run into him on the street. Once again, people are, Fred hasn't called. There's no service. You can't just decide to call. This guy doesn't even have internet either, but he has a phone number. Then she says again at 15:43, he had just discovered the bones before I got there. Well, why make excuses for Fred Hill about why he didn't call police? Did you not ask him why he didn't? Did you ever ask him why did you not call police? Okay. Well, yeah, at 15:48, I'm like, oh my gosh, did you call the police? He hadn't gotten around to it yet. If I find bones on my property and say there was a child missing from the neighborhood and I find bones, first of all, I know the difference between animal and human bones right when I look at them. There's ways you can tell. The last thing I would have done is, hold on a minute. J. Marie, I'm going to get to the part that addresses the investigation process and how this could mess it up. So there is a method to my madness, but the stream that I'm referring to is no longer there. And one of the big points of contention is the fact that there's been a lot of chaos going on over whether or not these bones were presented to everyone on YouTube as being animal, and they exactly were not for at least an hour. So at 16:52, she tells us, well, I'm going to ask him again. It was today. He said, I just found bones. So at 17:12, she tells us, okay, so I'm just going to start with my events of the day. I went to Ben Hill after Benny harassed and put up screenshots because I called him the R word. Well, we're now almost 20 minutes in, and you've already told us what happened. But we're going to start with the events of the day. That's great, because I need it to be explained. I really, really do. Let me scroll up for a second. I don't want to miss anyone. Thank you, Crime Beauty. I really appreciate it. Now at 18:19, we have 1,000 people in her chat. 1,000 people that bones have been found in the area that Summer went missing from. They're too small to be an adult human, but they have not been referred to as animals. So she tells us the first thing she did, she went to Ben Hill Road. Then she went to Solomon's Temple, to the prayer garden. Davy Tree Company just happens to show up, which that's fine. You know, there's trees in the area. My husband's a tree climber. He works on trees all day. I know that, you know, they end up in all kinds of weird places. So 2 trucks, 2 guys. She asked them if they knew the tree company. That was, I'm not saying that she meant harm, Chemistry Queen. I'm just trying to explain how all of this has turned into such a big mess. She asked if they knew the tree company that was working there that day that Summer went missing. They said it was them. There was a guy named Randy who no longer works for the company, but she got his contact information. She's going to reach out to him. That's great. I hope that she does reach out to him. I hope that he can give some clarity about what was going on up on that hill that day. So please, by all means, Ziggy, if you reach out to this Randy guy, then bring us something that isn't going to scare the crap out of all of us. Ask the right questions, please. So, but Randy did tell us that he saw Candace that morning with Man Ma and Summer. Their theory is they think that Dawn and Candace had something to do with what happened to Summer. They're involved. They know something. So this tree company has just told you that they think that Dawn and Candace know something. You already know that Fred Hill's not a nice guy. I mean, we talked about him a few months ago. We know that he shot a guy in the throat. And to boot, he still has open criminal cases in surrounding counties. All of his crimes are not closed. All of his cases are, you know, they're not settled. He still has pending criminal charges for various things in different counties. Ziggy has done nothing scary. I didn't say that Ziggy did anything scary. I said that the way she presented the information had people freaked out. So at 22:24, she tells us, I haven't listened to the recordings yet or sent it to TBI. Then her next step in the day is where she went to Bowser Cemetery. That's where Dawn's mom and stepdad are buried. She tells us that the location of the graves are right next to the fence. And that's the only place in the fence where there's a hole, like someone cut a hole in the fence vertically, opened the fence right next to the mom's grave. Well, if you remember back, there was already one little thing that came out last time a group went to Tennessee with some rocks on Dawn's mom's grave. And we all at the time thought, well, that was just a setup to make them freak out a little bit. So keeping that in the back of your mind when you're a creator and you're bringing information, that would have been the point where I would have remembered back to that and then thought, wait a minute. Someone tried to make something look hinky back then. So why wouldn't someone be trying to set me up to take a fall or make me look foolish at that point? That's just kind of where my mind would have been with it. Then she talks about how they went back down Ben Hill Road because tree people told her exactly which place is Fred Hill's. Okay. You had been down there. We had been down there earlier, and I thought that was his. So you thought it was his. Were you planning on stopping? Or he just happened to be outside? Because that part was a little confusing to me too. So at 22 minutes and 53 seconds, someone comes in and confirmed that there was bones in the original title. And they come in and they're like, I just read your title. What bones? Well, now you got someone else thinking that, oh my gosh, you just found Summer's bones. So we went back down there on Ben Hill Road now, and we noticed there were people walking around this time. Fred walked down and just started talking. After he told me he 100% feels that Dawn and Candace had something to do, he was very friendly, and then he happened to mention, I just found some bones. Now, keep in mind, we haven't look like animal bones, right? This has been a big point with her. She's convincing everyone that she told everyone that it looked like animal bones. She never misled anyone. And maybe she didn't intentionally mislead anyone, but that's what happened. He said he hadn't had a chance to call the police. I didn't even ask him what time it was. First thing I would have done, and this is looking at it from an investigation standpoint, I would have cut off my conversation with Fred Hill at that point. I would have gone to where I had service, and then I would have waited for someone to arrive, and then I would have taken it with myself and Fred Hill, and we would have all looked at the bones together. So that was like the thing I would have done differently. But she didn't do that. She went right with Fred in that moment and went to look at the bones. So I don't know, at 25 minutes, 15 seconds, I don't know how he found them. He was just walking around, I guess. 25 minutes, 29 seconds. Quote, he took us over there, and sure enough, there was bones scattered everywhere. Broken. There was a fire I shit you not, you guys, there was a fire pit. Looked like someone had been burning an animal, or because there were bones everywhere. End quote. Now, 25 minutes and 15 seconds is the first time this said might not be what everyone is now thinking 25 minutes into that stream. Quote, that's also weird to me. I don't think these look like human. No, he goes, I don't think this looks like animal bone. You said that Fred told you that they don't look like animal bones. That's also because nobody ever builds a fire here. Fred's telling you nobody ever builds a fire here. You're reporting what Fred tells you. So now you found bones that Fred led you to next to a fire pit. Fred Hill says they don't like animal, and Fred Hill says it's odd because no one ever puts a fire there. They don't build a fire there. So at 2617, we haven't seen the pictures yet, but we're getting a description. It's like a circle where a bonfire was. It was starting to get dark, and I had already stood there and talked to him forever. Yes, Mateo. Burners do burn carcasses. They cook the deer on a fire. It is tradition. When my husband goes hunting, the first deer of the season, that's what they do. And then they burn the carcass to help, just to keep other wild animals from coming in and messing up your hunting area, maggots. I mean, there's just all kinds of things that go on. But it's kind of like a rite of passage, right? Especially if you're taking a child hunting with you for the first time and it's their first kill. It's like a celebratory thing. So at 26 minutes 44 seconds, explaining that there was footage on the phone of the person you're with, but you don't have pics. It was too dark. So in 27 minutes in, someone asked you, please don't show those bones. Please don't. You had a viewer in your chat asking you not to show the bones. There would be many reasons not to show that picture. The main reason is, yes, it could absolutely ruin an investigation. And I'm going to, before I continue with the other stuff, because there is going to be a little drama at the end, I'm going to forewarn you. When you are investigating a death, a missing child, anything of evidentiary value, you don't go near it. You don't pick it up. Even if you think you're picking it up, following proper procedure and protocol, it's best to leave it where it is. Why is it best to leave it where it is? Because they need a picture of exactly where it was found. So she admitted she's with someone. We know it's her, someone else, her daughter, and Fred Hill. That's 4 people trampling through an area that could be a crime scene. So any footprints that could be there, any DNA be used in that investigation is now contaminated. You ruined it. And you've taken pictures and now put them up on the internet before law enforcement has come and taken their pictures. Someone even made a comment in the chat that it could ruin an investigation. And she argued that and said, I'm not going to ruin an investigation by posting pictures. Come on. Yes, you absolutely could. Not to mention, what parent, whether they're responsible or not, what parent wants to see anything online that may or may not be their missing child in that condition. And you've already explained that it was a fire pit. You already explained that it was in the middle of a fire pit. I know that if I had that vision in my head of my child being disposed of that way, I would probably be put in a mental institution. I absolutely would. It was reckless, it was careless, and it was insensitive. And the crap I've seen go on because of that, the back and forth, and you not taking responsibility, Ziggy, and wanting to just completely deflect on what it's really about is just appalling to me. No, bones are not a big deal, and it was obviously animal bones. But the thing is, you're a nurse. I'm a criminal justice major specializing in death investigation, and yes, the scene was absolutely contaminated. So you might know about it from the medical aspect, but I know about it from what we need to do when we first get on a scene. So we're just going to end that there. You don't have to be here to watch this. It's not going to hurt my feelings. So then she talks about the location. Okay, and this is where people got hung up because she said that the location was just one driveway over, 50 to 60 feet up the driveway. And then there was that whole drama about the measurements and the Google Maps and all of this, and the 1,500 feet. Well, yes, if you're going down the driveway, down the street, and back up, it probably could be about 1,500 feet. But if you're just walking through the woods, then it could be the 300 or so feet that was originally stated. Then we don't know who owns the property, right? Is it Dave Bays? Is it someone? I mean, who knows who owns all that property up there? It seems like every time we go digging into who owns what, it's like something else comes out. So I don't even want to get into that nightmare. They weren't on Fred's property. They weren't on Don's property. They were just kind of in the middle in a fire pit with a fire that no one ever saw. So she's trying to get the pictures posted. She's worried that her computer's going to freeze, this and that. Then the picture gets up. 30 minutes in, we're finally seeing the picture. And then she's pointing out the burn area. And then she tells us, those white pieces are bones. Those are bone fragments. Well, I would have led with something strange happened today. I don't think it's anything. I really sincerely think it's animal bones. It just kind of freaked me out because of the area it was located in. I would have led with that to kind of not put people on edge, worrying that they were going to hear on the news the next day that the bones that were found that day were poor Summer, right? Like, how can that not tug at your heartstrings? "31 minutes, 16 seconds. We couldn't see it in the picture. It was dark. It was blurry. It was a screen. It was a still shot of a video. But she pointed out that further back there was a jawbone. And I was trying to pay attention to teeth. 3 times she said I could not tell it was broken, but no mention of animal bones. Now at 32 minutes, there's 1,500 people in chat, and everyone is still on the edge of their seat wondering, because some people looking in the chat, some people were like, oh my goodness, oh, you could have solved this whole thing. And other people were trying to say, no, that doesn't look like human bones. I mean, we have a lot of people that watch us that go hunting and are familiar with things like that. So 33 minutes and 59 seconds, it's about the battery pack. I wish I had my battery pack. It wasn't a big fire pit, about 2 feet in diameter. 35 minutes and 24 seconds, we're told this looks like an arm bone. Exact words. This looks like an arm bone. That's all one bone, but it's broken, she tells us. So then the comments. Oh my goodness, the comments. No way that was a burn pit. The mark on the ground is decomp. If you can tell it's a jawbone, how can you tell if it's animal or human? Another comment, recent fire to burn poached deer. That made more sense to me. Then someone actually said maybe that's where Rose is. So you can see where the chat is just in a frenzy, right? And that's why the presentation of this was all wrong. Do I appreciate her going to Tennessee? Absolutely. If I could go there, I would. I'm not going to sign an NDA though. But if I could go there, I would. I want to help too. But all I can do, unfortunately, is be here and present facts as I find them. I'll never, ever go all in and fully report on Summer's case. And it's because of situations like this. It's a nightmare, a freaking nightmare. Yes, unfortunately, she did make a shite load of cash. She made a shite load of cash the next day when she got all upset and blamed Tiffany for everything. So finally, 37 minutes and 5 seconds in, she says, I wouldn't think it was anything because I would think it would have been found. Well, I would think so too. Which is probably why I wouldn't have just jumped the gun and came presenting and not being very specific and detailed and careful with my words. Clementine, I've never said anything about what kind of channel I have. I do a little bit of everything. It's my channel. I'm going to talk about what I want. So 39 minutes, we start to hear the phone call. She tells dispatch, it's an area off Ben Hill Road. Don Wells is in that area. You wanted to make sure it got reported and that it's 50 to 60 feet up the driveway. 40 minutes and 49 seconds. And this is an exact quote. I saw it. It did look like small bones. It could be an animal, obviously. There's a fire pit. There's a fire area. Like someone had a fire around the area. It's like they burned an animal or something. It could be a person. That's why I wanted to, with Summer Wells missing, when he showed me that he took me right to the area of bones. I didn't have any cell service out there. And then she gives dispatch reads her number back and she says, it's okay, Benny's already doxed me. So that was her phone call and her exact words of what she said to the dispatch, right? You heard her say it. Well, I told you she said it. I don't know if everyone heard it. You can't go back and listen. It's gone. But her exact words were, it could be a person. That's why I wanted to. Okay. 42 minutes, 43 seconds. We hear the call to TBI. Fred Hill found bones. I asked him if he'd show me because he said he was just over on the next drive. I asked if he called. He said not yet, but I wanted to make sure that I reported it, and I told him I was going to. It's not the exact address, but Fred Hill. When looking at his property, it's one driveway over. The next driveway to the left, he told me it was property owned by Dave Bays. I went up there, up the drive. I drove over to the next driveway. He walked over. I parked. He said it's 50 to 60 feet up the drive. I went up there. He showed me a burn pile. Someone was burning something, and there were like bones scattered everywhere. I don't know. It could be an animal. More than likely, it probably is. It looked like a small person bones. You could see the teeth. There's teeth, but I couldn't tell for sure. So there's tons of bones over there. I just wanted to report it just in case. That was the statement that was given when she called TBI. So yes, Ziggy did make reference to it possibly being animal bones. I'm not going to call her a liar. She did make reference to it possibly being animal bones. She also made a couple references that it could be a small human. And it took 45 minutes in before she actually uttered the words, it could be an animal. So why get people all upset? Why not and she actually admitted in the beginning that she didn't think that maybe she should show it or play it. I mean, no, if your phone calls or your recordings with Fred Hill are still downloading so you can send them to law enforcement and investigators, you absolutely should not be coming and talking to us about it before the correct agencies know. So when someone called her out and said she could ruin an investigation, yes, it could be ruined. Not to mention signing that NDA. That was a big mistake. And an NDA, if this turns out to be a criminal case, that NDA is null and void. You will be subpoenaed. You've been on that property. And please, for the love of all things holy, please tell me that you read that thing with a fine-tooth comb before you signed it and that you got a copy of it. Because everyone's been talking about how shady these people are. So what makes you think that if you signed your name on a piece of paper and you didn't get a copy of what you signed, that they can't go put your signature on something else completely different? And I'm sure that you could walk around holding your phone up in the air and get a signal strong enough to call 911. Not only did they go trample around where these bones were, animal or not, she left. Ziggy, did you ever ask anybody in that area if there was police activity that they actually went up there and looked at these bones? Because I can tell you, the way we do it here, if someone were to call us and say they found bones, there are procedures in place. We have step by step the way we handle things. Everybody's not going to go rushing out there. They're going to send maybe 1 or 2 cars, and they'll send someone up to look at it and say, yes, we need to have someone come out here and take a closer look. Then they're going to start marking off the scene. They're going to start taking pictures. They're going to start collecting anything that could be collected. There's just certain ways of doing things. If it were me and I made the phone call, I would have stayed in the area and made sure, that someone came up there. Another problem, just forget about trampling through everything. Keep in mind that at the point that stream went up, it hadn't been confirmed that anyone had gone out and investigated that, right? We didn't hear anything about it. So now you've just told thousands of people pretty much exactly where you found these bones. So if it were anything having to do with Summer missing, you've just told everyone that people have found it and anyone can go there and mess with that scene. Because we all heard it first. And when you look at the gravity of the situation and the people involved, if any of these people in that area are involved and they thought that they buried something well enough, or they thought, that if, say, they moved her from another location and moved her there thinking that, that area has already been searched, they're not going to come back there, right? Why would they? It's close to the house. Why would they come back there? That was the first place they looked. If they moved her there thinking it was safe, well, now it's been discovered, and so now they got to go out and move some stuff around again. So the whole way it was presented was just in poor taste. And I don't know Ziggy personally. I've had very little interaction with her, but I do know that Joy Cowley, that's great that you're 60. I'm 46 and chose to go back to school. No, it wasn't a crime scene, but it was a scene where bones were called in, right? Follow along. It was a scene where someone made a phone call and said that there were bones found. Okay. Knowing that it's in the area where Summer lived, they absolutely would have come out there to investigate those bones. And if they needed to, they would have taped off the area. Okay. That's how it works. So I don't know. And no, I never said I'm an investigator, Joy Cowley. I said I'm a criminal justice major going into the field of death investigation. So you're absolutely right. I'm not an investigator yet, but I'm learning how to be one. So I don't know if they taught you about investigation in nursing school. I mean, my mother-in-law is a nurse. She never mentioned that to me. So, and I don't know what you being 60 has to do with it. No, there wasn't crime tape at the time. But if they felt that it was something that needed to be looked at, they would absolutely come out and tape off the scene. It doesn't even have to be crime scene tape. We have little orange stakes and orange tape that we tape off areas that we need to investigate. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. I don't know Ziggy personally. I know that the way it was handled, the presentation of the bones, really caused a lot of unnecessary drama. She said some horrible, horrible things in response to that was emails and calls. Everyone, 30 minutes of that had no bones we were looking at. Really tell our end. There's a lot of people that look at that animal. The fact that it's broke looks like a arm bone. Can you guys hear me now? In the country, so sometimes the and messes with signal. But I mean, she got upset that Tiffany didn't call her personally, and you sat on your stream though, Ziggy, and you pulled your viewers in by allowing them to go back and forth between the two streams. Everything's been said. If you're mad, they didn't call her. If that were okay, she didn't call her. Let me call her and cry and get on the bad because you weren't really explaining the method to us and why things played out the way they did. But I did sit on it for a couple hours and completely trash Tiffany when you know that she has done nothing but report on Summer since June 16th. Hang on, guys. I'm going to try to move to another spot where I'm not robot-y. Hang on. Okay. Is that better? Okay, let's do. That's a good point, just Sherry. You wouldn't know if there was a crime scene or not because nobody stuck around. Anyone could have gone to that scene and messed with anything that may or may not be of evidentiary value. Anyone, we know a lot of people local to the area watch our channels. We know that there's people doing shady things and people that are treating this like it's a game. I just would have a little more proactive in following up and making sure that it wasn't poor Summer. Good Lord, could you imagine if it would have ended up in Summer, how everyone would be feeling? Everyone would be feeling a lot differently. Instead of just hating on Tiffany for being upset that whole thing happened to begin with. I understand being, a little high on adrenaline, stuff like that. But you put your safety at risk, your child's at risk, and I'm not even going to harp on that because as parents, we make wrong decisions sometimes. It was. So rather than let people sit up there in the stream and blame Tiffany for everything, you as the creator could have redirected that whole thing and changed the move. You really could. You had control over that, but you didn't. You were so mad that someone was upset and didn't call you first that you literally sat there and made the stream about her. You made it all about her. And it shouldn't be about that. I get that you made an apology stream. I get that. I mean, you said it right out of the gate. I knew right away that I was wrong for doing it. But you still did it. So for future reference, if anyone is out there boots around or walking around where there could have, potential evidence or anything like that, there are procedures in place despite what Joy Crowley says. Anytime you find something that you think may or may not be involved in something that may or may not be a crime, it's best to call law enforcement first before you go near it. You need to go there with trained professionals because you don't know, right? Just the average person would things that we don't even think about could be a piece of evidence. I mean, how often do you like I know I do just because I know we've done training exercises and things where you find little pieces, we have all these little labs we have to do. How often do you see like a random shoe on the side of the road, and you're like, wow, I wonder why that ran. I mean, how many people drive down the road and just a shoe falls out of their? So I always wonder, man, was someone running from something and their shoe came off, or a cigarette butt, the tiniest things, a straw could have DNA on it. They could have gotten to the bottom maybe if someone planted those bones, which I'm pretty sure that someone probably did. I think it was a sick prank. Could have been meant for some other group that was out there, but unfortunately, Ziggy is the one that has taken the heat for this. It was all wrong. And I'm not I'm not going to trash her as a person, right? Because I think that she kind of got caught up in the hype. I am going to trash her response though, because it was out of line. And I heard the one that she did last night. I have strong feelings about that puppy. I'm hoping she does the right thing. 3 weeks is too soon to pull that pup away from its mom. That's all I'm going to say about that. The NDA, that damn NDA. I can only hope that you asked questions before signing it. Like, what are your consequences if you break the NDA? What are your limitations? We already talked about getting a copy. Why was it so important for you to get on that property after you've already had a couple of people tell you that they think that family is involved or they know something about where Summer is? Why was it so important to get on that property? Was it for a dog? I wouldn't sign that NDA. And even though you signed it, if it ends up that they have criminal charges pressed against them, you will be subpoenaed. You will have to go testify, and there's a good chance that your child will too. Because y'all were right there and y'all saw some things. You heard some things. You heard stories that Fred Hill told you about the wells, right? You said it. You said, man, does he have some stories? Did you consider your legal obligation if you signed that? Did you research NDAs in situations where crimes or possible crimes exist? Did you sign it right on the spot, or did you take it and have a lawyer look over it? Did your daughter go on the property too? Did she have to sign an NDA? Did you consider what it would be if you do get subpoenaed and your electronics get subpoenaed and they have to do dumps on all your devices to find out what all's been talked about? So there's just all kinds of little things. Now, your argument has been, I've never said they were human bones. I said they were animal. Well, you did. A couple of times you did say if they're human, they look like a small human. So I'm not okay with the way you played on viewers' emotions when it comes to Summer. I think Summer has been through enough. I think her memory has been through enough. I think this whole case has been through enough. And I have no dog in the fight with you, but I've heard people go back and forth saying, she said it was animal. Well, she said it could be a couple of times. But even in the call to TBI, she said that it could be a small person. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry. Then it started while you were doing your apology stream. You were saying that, actually, I've noticed that a lot of your information you get from chat. Nothing's ever confirmed. Tiffany never told anyone to call CPS, but there is someone who did, and he doesn't look anything like Tiffany. In fact, today he said he wouldn't call CPS on you, but he is going to call the ASPCA if you don't do right by that puppy. Yes, that girl, everyone who signed that NDA, it just created a whole another slew and layer to all of this nightmare of a case already. So the vile names and the blaming her and saying everybody warned me, this and that. You made a lot of money on that apology stream, and you did it on Tiffany's back. You did it by hate bonding over Tiffany, and I think that's disgusting. So that is the one thing that I'm going to say you were wrong for that. Very wrong. Because everything that Tiffany felt, she explained it quite well. She wasn't up there trashing you and saying, oh, everyone tried to tell me that Ziggy was this and that. She made it about what it was supposed to be about, and it was the fact that you misled people. You absolutely misled people, whether it was intentional or not. You just can't come to YouTube showing bones and alluding to the fact that they were found right where a missing child is, and then tell law enforcement that it could be a small human. Tiffany didn't attack first. Tiffany got on there and shared her feelings about how disgusting it was to show those bones. She wasn't up there calling anyone vile names, but Ziggy would never know that because Ziggy was told several times to go listen to the stream and hear what I said, and she wouldn't do it. She said, absolutely not. She's going to rely on what the people in chat say. Like the stream last night, bringing up Tiffany's health. Someone made an offhanded comment saying she has brain issues. Well, for months, we've sat in her chats and it's been, oh, just don't delete anyone, make sure that I don't want my chat censored unless it's just really, really bad. But the minute people started talking about her in the chat, it was delete them all. Yet she found it appropriate to sit in her chat last night and allow people to talk about someone's physical health and mental health. And then she got right in there too. And I just think that that is just low class. Someone's physical and mental health is none of our business, and it's damn sure not our business to be going up in front of thousands of people talking about it. But when you do things like that, it takes the focus off the mistake you made and puts it all on someone else. Well, who's the perfect person to do that to? The person that everyone's already pissed off about. Yes, Tiffany, she did say something about your health. Someone in the chat said that you had brain trouble because you were getting so upset about this, like it was an offhanded comment. And she says, well, I don't know about that. And then Tiffany accused me of calling her a food stamp queen or something like that. So that led into, I'm not saying anything about her brain issues, but I do know reason she wasn't monetized. She lied to people. So it was just, that's how the fire was getting fed. It's reading the chats and reading the negative comments and calling them out, bringing attention to them. So just keep that in mind. If you're in Ziggy's chat, if you make a bad comment about anyone else, like about Tiffany or about me or anyone else, then those comments are okay. You brought it to the public. Ziggy had, just like Tiffany had the right to respond when Ziggy brought the bones. That's not an argument anymore. Ziggy had a right to respond. Well, there was about 5,000 people that had a right to respond over those bones that were being showed. So Tiffany's health in any capacity is nobody's business. Then you go on to say, Ziggy, that I don't think she's ever had a job in her entire life. What has she done with her life? Pot meat kettle. I just don't think it's okay for anyone to talk about anyone's health, especially over something like this. Because all that did was get the chat all riled up. Let's just start trashing Tiffany. Can we bring up how her apology about the bones sounded exactly like how Doug tore her apart, which we all defended her for? You know, I kind of stayed out of that little mess. I remember when it happened. I can open up the panel for a few minutes and like if someone wants to come up, hang on. I'm going to drop a link. If anyone wants to come up for a few minutes, then by all means. I'm pretty much done. Like, that thing about the investigation, that really bothered me. Because it could have messed up an investigation if it were something that needed to be investigated. So that goes for anyone when you're doing these cases. If you are happen to be in the area or you come across something that you think might have to do with the case, by all means, don't touch it. Don't walk near it. Try to avoid it. You can take your own pictures, but please keep in mind that when investigators do get there, they don't take pictures. So it's important that everyone gets everything right where they're at. Let's see. Bomb malicious. I need to see, like, I have to know that it's really you. I've never been porn bombed. I don't want to be porn bombed. I can't see a picture. Okay.
Hey,
Hello.
how are you, beautiful? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Oh, no. Can you hear me now? Okay, let me go out and come back in.
No, I hear you now. Okay. Well, she'll be back. It's gonna get good, you guys. So being upset that Tiffany was trashing her and then going on there for an almost 3-hour stream last night, trashing Tiffany with 1,000 people because Tiffany trashed her over some irresponsible reporting. You know, I don't know. I don't even know what to think. It's just, I think that this case has really thrown everyone into such a
Hey,
horrible mindset. Hey,
you can hear me?
I can hear you. How are
Super
you?
duper. How are you, pretty lady?
Good, good, good.
Good. Listen, I'm not gonna be here long. I just wanted to say that I listened to some of Ziggy's stream last night, and the names that they were calling Tiffany, and all these things that they were saying that Tiffany said about the Yennefer lady, and all this kind of stuff. No, half of that didn't even happen, and I was there.
Yeah.
You know, the lady got up there and was so condescending to Tiffany. I got up there. You know, the bless your hearts and the darling and the honey. You can put honey and darling on the back end of anything, but the lady was just trolling Tiffany, and
Right.
you know, she wasn't taking any of it seriously. And
Yeah.
you know, the laughter at the end of the day, Tiffany is allowed to have whatever opinion she wants to have about anything. It's a free country, and she's genuinely upset about the bone situation, as anybody with common sense should be.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know
How
what I,
can we not be
like
upset? You know.
she deliberately misled people, and even on the phone call she said it looks like a small person's bones.
Right.
You know, like, look, whether they were animal or not, if you're not accustomed to looking at bones, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. And Jennifer making this point of saying, have you ever dressed a deer? I have dressed a deer. I still can't tell a difference.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, I'm getting kind of tired of the same people bashing Tiffany when Tiffany is over there putting out facts. She doesn't go on rumor and innuendo.
No,
Um,
that's like that's a big no-no, you know. If
yeah,
she sees
and it
people in
is.
chat with a rumor, she'll tell you flat out, you know, don't start rumors in here. You need to tell me
That's
where
right.
you got this information.
And as a channel holder, you were responsible for not misleading people. And if the
Right.
TBI has to make a post saying that there has been a uptick in misleading information coming out of the Summer Wells case, then that should tell you everything right there. Because not until Molly and her buddies started going around and running their mouths, there wasn't an uptick in misinformation.
Yep.
And I want to talk, and I'm just venting for a minute. And the disclosure is not legal. It's not legal. If you're trying to hide anything for a criminal purpose, then it's null and void. They're crazy, and I don't care who signed it. Yeah, I mean, like they gonna have to get a lawyer to hold you to it, and they're not
Yes.
gonna do that. They're not gonna do that because they don't want the truth out there, and that's why they're
Yeah.
having people sign disclosures because they're doing dirty shit. I've tried to give
Yeah.
them the benefit of the doubt, saying, you know, you in a court of law, and this unfortunately is the truth. Well, it's the truth. The justice system works a certain way. Now, on social media, you are guilty until you're proven innocent.
Mhm.
You know, but you know, and at the end of the day, their actions, the way that they've moved, the way that they've done things, makes them look guilty of sin.
Right. There should never be an NDA in a missing child's
Yeah,
case.
that's the craziest shit I've ever heard. When I heard that, and then it was read out loud, it blew my mind.
Like
And
just
it blows my mind that anybody would sign it. I don't know. Maybe they're just not the smartest tools in the shed. I don't know.
that's what victims advocacy services are for, like real victim advocates. You know, right
Yeah.
now, Summer victim. Yes, the parents had something unfortunate happen. Their child is missing, but Summer is a victim. They are the victim
Let me ask you
family.
something. When I was watching the TV interview with Don Wells, he says he just wants his life to get back to normal. So that told me there that he's not searching for his child,
Right.
and they haven't been searching for their child. They've expected everybody else to do it. So while everybody else is out here making live streams and up in arms about their child being missing, they're not. And now that really truly bothers me. At this point, I've tried to be fair and impartial, you know, and tried to be devil's advocate. But as I've always said, if it walks like a duck, sounds like a duck, and looks like a duck, it's a duck.
Exactly. Like we haven't seen a lot of good, you know. Like,
There's nothing been
naturally,
good that's come out of that camp since it happened.
yeah, naturally, when you have a missing child, like I've said before, you know, she didn't go missing from a store. She didn't go missing from a park. She went missing from her home that sits up on a hill with two adults and three brothers there.
That's
according
exactly
to
right.
them.
That's exactly right.
So what, maybe someone targeted them and they did take her for whatever reason. It's not for good reasons, you
Listen,
know.
if they took her, I mean, like, that's kidnapping, okay? And if they hang out with shady characters, they do, okay? But at the end of the day, like, the grandmother is her story has changed. Candace's story has changed. Dawn just is a fool, and like, perception is everything in the world, right? And when you get on social media and you're drunk and you're saying crazy things, at some point, a drunk man's words are also truth words too, right?
Right.
Like, you have no inhibition. You're going to say what you feel. And I believe that there's some truth in the things that he said. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to look, and I'm going to talk about it today, because, like, I'm really bothered about the bone situation, about the fact that everybody is trying to come down on Tiffany when Tiffany was the only one out there for a while, her and AB, talking about this child. She's been there from day one. So all these people that are trying to ride her back right now really bother the fuck out of me. Excuse my language.
Right.
So that's all I want to say. And I
Well, I
love you. I think you
appreciate
do a
it.
great job. That's all.
Oh, thank you. And thanks for coming up.
Listen, I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good day, okay?
You too.
All right, baby doll. Bye.
All right. Bye bye. Okay, I see what's going on in the chat, so we're gonna address this real quick. I don't need to say any names. She knows I got your message. I'm completely willing. I don't like to be. That's one thing that I love about Tiffany. Tiffany's never put me in a position to have to choose. I've said that before. I said it on my last stream. When people ask me why I still support her, I support her because she's been a friend to me. When we had our one disagreement, that was completely my fault. We worked it out. How I feel about doxing. I've been fake doxed before. Tiffany's been fake doxed before. A lot of us have. A lot of us have also been doxed for real. Somewhere along the lines in this case, people have clung to the ideation that if you're out there in the public, then it's fair game. No, it's not. It's not fair game. It's going to happen though. We know that as creators. I think you take everything a situation at a time and you deal with it as it comes. I don't think it needs to be a group effort. I don't know what happened with this situation. I will ask, it's no secret. I support Tiffany. She's my friend. Um, and it's not like I have blind loyalty. I've heard all the same things. Oh, hi, Truth for Reality. I just watched your video this morning, your most recent one. It was amazing. Um, I think that there's a lot of things that get helped taken care of out in the open when it really should be taken care of, the right way. Um, just Tiffany is my friend. Like I said, I'm not going into it blindly. I've heard the rumors. You've heard the rumors. That's not what this is about, though. This is about Summer. It's about a missing 5-year-old child. And I have been listening to Tiffany since day one that she has been reporting on Summer. And there is never been a day that I walked out of one of her streams that um I didn't feel informed about something. Like, she brings good information. She doesn't operate on rumors. She's going to tell it like it is, and she's going to research and do the things that need to be done before she brings information out. So, whatever else has happened between certain people, just deal with it. If we've learned anything from this, it's that we've got to reel this back into what it's really about. I just dropped the link in the chat. We need to reel this back in and get it focused back on Summer And since all this has happened, right, since even the fundraiser fiasco, Tiffany has still tried to make it be about Summer. She's tried to make it be about Harmony. She's tried to make it be about Lena. But no one will go look at that stuff because you're all so consumed with all the hatred. Ziggy even brought it up last night about, oh, well, the coffee. So it still goes back to that. That's all you got? That's all you got is coffee and rumors about her personal life that's really nobody's business? Tiffany, don't apologize for coming in the chat. You have as much right to be here as everyone else. And see, that's a damn shame when we're sitting here talking about a missing child and people have to worry about coming into a chat because of the crap that they're going to face, or they can't be here to support their friends because everything gets turned into something else. That whole 3 hours last night on Ziggy's, I listened to it from beginning to end, and it was all about trashing Tiffany because she spoke out against the Bones. It was tacky. It was not good. The way that was handled was not good. I don't even know how else to say it. It doesn't, I mean, I don't wish any ill will. Just like Tiffany said, I don't wish any ill will on Ziggy. I hope that she does not make the same mistake again, because this is what it's led to. I'm going to put the link in one more time if someone else wants to come up. I'm going to have to wind it down because, like I said, I am at Joy Cowley. If you're still here, I have homework for my investigation classes. You guys keeps, not you guys. There's a lot of people saying, oh, well, it's just all drama, all drama. No, it's not. This case itself has a little bit of drama involved, but that's because the family has created some drama. We need to, the Summer's still missing 7 months. Okay. That's how much Tiffany cares about Summer, is because on the anniversary, Tiffany did a stream all afternoon about Summer for people to come in and leave prayers and things like that. Okay, I'm going to bring you up. Can you flash your camera on for just a second? Thank you. Hi,
Hi, can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
Okay. I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm good.
I just wanted to state, because I was in the chat when you first came up, and this is kind of raw to me because this all happened last night. Obviously, people know that I mod for her a lot. I also text with her, talk with her on the phone over since she started, really,
Uh huh.
talking about Ziggy. Um, the last couple weeks, things have been different with her. When the Bones thing happened, I kind of confronted her in a way that I would show her things like what Chasing posted, the thing, and said maybe you should post a poll on what your subs think, because I think maybe you should take it down. She didn't care.
Wow.
She blamed Tiffany. If it was such a big deal, then Tiffany shouldn't have showed it. I said it doesn't even look. I am not the biggest Tiffany fan. Never have been. That's neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm.
I was a subscriber coming to her and a supporter saying, this is wrong without being rude, you know? So
Right.
then the night she was leaving to go to Tennessee, she actually called me and had talked about possibly picking me up, but then kind of backed out, said she was going to meet somebody down there, whatever. Cool. I was like, I don't know about that, because after the whole Molly Golightly thing, from what I was seeing, I didn't like what was going on down there, and I just didn't know if she was going down there to meet up with them, whatever. Anyway, last night when she went on Tabby's live and showed that puppy
Yeah.
blew my fucking mind, girl. I listened to a bunch of creators. Crude AF is one. I've been listening to him a lot because he's been blowing out, Bullhorn and Molly Golightly. And he had said, some things about Ziggy getting the puppy, and there was things in the chat, and she had told me she couldn't have a puppy. She couldn't have any animals at that house. Her daughter thought they were cute, but they weren't going to get one. Mind you, this was 2 days before she shows the picture of her getting a puppy. I went on and I actually defended her to Crude and said, look, these people are spreading rumors about her. This isn't true. She can't even have a puppy, right? So she gets a puppy, and then when she gets this puppy, and I'm texting her, kind of trying to support her, but telling her, you said you did say you couldn't have one. You did lie to your subs and tell us you didn't have one, right? Then, as I'm texting her, she starts, this person is texting me right now, and I told them I don't want all these negative things. I've told her a million times. This is what she screams. She's talking about me. So I text her and I said, first of all, if you have something to say it, but I've been in support of you. I have seen you in the last couple of weeks change. Those views, those clicks, that money made your head big, girl. And you need
Yeah.
humbled. And every time I have confronted her, all she has ever said is she doesn't care. She's exhausted from it all. Everybody just needs to leave her alone. She's the victim here. But let's be clear. She made a living off of the back of this family, and then she went there and buddied up with them.
Right. And that kind of blows my mind. Like, I don't know. It's, how do we ever take anything she says about this case at, you know, to mean anything, because everything has to be secretive now, right? Like, there's certain things she can't talk about. Anything, from what I understand, the NDA covers is anything on that property. That
Oh,
includes,
she told me in text that she promised them she wasn't going to tell anybody about the puppy. But because everybody kept saying it, and she just felt like they knew. What? So you were going to lie to us? But then decided,
she was on a panel with Lips, and didn't she say that she didn't get a puppy? I think she said, I didn't get a puppy, guys.
she said it multiple times.
I
To the point,
thought that's what I heard. I
yeah,
was like, am I going
that's
crazy?
what I'm saying. To the point where your subs and your supporters are going out in defense of you because all these other clip channels and whatnot are attacking you. We're coming out in defense because that's what people do, right? The whole
Right.
time not knowing we're fucking being taken for a ride. And you know what I told her last night? My last text to her, because she was actually mocking me, reading my text and going like, you know how people mock people like, like that? You know what you sound like? You sound like a Molly Golightly Jr. Fuck the
Well,
fuck off.
yeah. And, she's got Molly on her side now, which
Yeah.
I guess that might seem like a.
Well, I've tried to. That's another thing. I've tried to over the last couple of weeks text her and try to understand where she falls with that, but she doesn't have a spine. She doesn't have a spine. If like she's been saying things about Tiffany Marie for weeks, but hasn't said it. Not until Tiffany says something. Then she's all, oh, she's been doing this and doing that. Well, why don't you say it when you're thinking it? Why do you lie to all of us? If you have,
Right.
if you feel some kind of way, like to my understanding, she's not with the Molly Golightly. The way I look at it, she's your fucking life coach now.
Yeah. And I heard her attack Glitter last night too. And that kind of got my feathers ruffled because, Glitter was just trying to let her know that, hey, you did say that these bones were small human. You did say these things. And Like, it's
over
just,
and over. And she thinks that it's dumb. When I sent her a community post of Chasing, okay? Chasing made a community post and it was very respectful, okay? Has anybody ever seen Chasing really post something that was highly disrespectful? I haven't. And I've been watching YouTube for 8 years. She posted this and it was like pretty much, and then I sent her a bunch of things like other creators think you should take this down. Maybe you should poll your subs and see what they think. 2 days later, she texts me back and says, well, I demonetized it. Yeah, that's after it got the highest views of all your videos.
yeah. Yeah, those two, the apology video and the bone video, they were up there. And that was the point, is because we all know the telephone game, right? You hear one thing one way, and then by the time it gets to other people, there's probably people who have not come back to listen to the aftermath of everything, who are running out there saying, oh my gosh, Summer's bones have been found. It's just, it's it's emotional torment is what it
And
is.
it's also really, really sketchy to me that up until recently, Jody Sue has been friendly with her. And she even said last night, which was really weird to me, because she said to me in a text, she said, Jody Sue made her feel very uncomfortable when the night she asked and came in to drop her Venmo. And I was like, yeah, that was kind of messed up, right? Okay, but then last night in Tabby's live, she was like, yeah, I know she was talking to Jody Sue while she was down there. That makes me feel really, I'm really listening to what Tiffany Marie's saying. You know what I mean? Like, what was really going on when she was down there? How did she hook up with Frank? Because all these other YouTubers are down there. There's tons of them, not just Molly Golightly in them. There's tons that go down there, and nobody's ever talked to Frank.
Yeah.
But
And he
days
even
after,
admitted it.
yeah, and then days after she drops that Venmo, she's talking to Frank. What? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, I like I said, this is raw to me. I feel I don't want to say that she was a friend of mine because we obviously know she ain't a friend. I'm a sub. She's a creator, right?
Right.
But when you're texting me and you're telling me on all your videos, and I watch every single one of them, I am a gung ho supporter from day one. I'm talking about first stream. In fact, I gave her a first dollar. You're gonna go on and know that I'm defending you to other creators saying you didn't get a puppy and then put a puppy up in somebody else's channel that don't even have its eyes open. She doesn't even know she can take the dog to the vet because it's so young. Are you fucking kidding me? You shouldn't even have the dog and you should rush that puppy to the vet.
Right. Exactly. Like, I just,
She
hopefully,
doesn't like dogs, y'all. She doesn't like dogs. She's a cat person. Couldn't even bring her cat to the house. Told me last night. I didn't. Another reason why she didn't want to tell her subs that she got the dog, because she don't want people telling her landlord. Well, your landlord's gonna find out it's a dog, girl. It's not a cat or a rat.
right. And how traumatic is it going to be if that pup doesn't make it? It's just, if she wanted a dog that bad, it's like 350 miles away. She
No.
could have gone
She
back and got
wanted
it.
Summer Wells puppies. She wanted one of Summer Wells puppies. It was nothing about wanting a puppy. She has plenty of money to go, or there's plenty of dogs that need adopted. That's all that was. Was that Summer? That's Yucky's puppy.
Wow. Like it's a souvenir. Yeah,
This is
that's
what
just
she
an
said. She
added
said to
layer.
me. She said to me, I wouldn't have got a dog, but this one was special. And right when she said it, I knew what she was saying. I knew. I'm
Right.
sorry, Ziggy. I know you're going to hear this. Sorry, not sorry. You're fucking disgusting.
Well, she probably won't hear it because she's admitted that she doesn't really listen to anybody.
That's another thing, Chasing. She was in the chat was going, you mentioned that, and people were like, Tiffany said call CBS. I listen to Tiffany's streams. I listen to every single one of them. I fast forward them, I mean, play them faster. I go through and I listen. Tiffany never said it, not once.
No,
I
she
text
never
her.
did.
I
That's
text,
a big no-no. Tiffany will never tell anyone to call CPS. She's not
right.
going to do that.
I text her 3 times and said, "Have you listened to Tiffany's lives yet about you?" No. Finally, I was like, "Well, you need to quit believing what people say in the chat and go to the source. These people
Right.
are trolling you." I mean, I don't know. I,
Yeah.
I defended her a lot because I was like, "Oh, she's a new creator. I know what it must be like." I mean, God forbid, and all these people are attacking you. I get it. But man, when we're coming and supporting you and you're straight lying to us, no, that's, I can't take fucking liars, man.
Yeah. And like, I would have, if I were in her position and, Tiffany, like I saw the text between her and Tiffany, and if I would have had someone say, no, go listen to what I said. I didn't say any of those things. I would go do it. If it meant nipping a problem in the bud.
Right.
But by that point, it was so far gone. Everyone was so riled up with their hatred and their anger against Tiffany. What was she going to do? Go back and listen and see that she was wrong about all the things that were said? That would mean she would have to go up in front of her thousands of people and chat and say, guys, I was wrong. And that, I get it. That's a bitter pill to swallow,
She
but
straight
that's,
used Tiffany. She used Tiffany as, like I said, for weeks, she hasn't liked Tiffany. She says, "Everybody told me, guys." She knew that everybody in that chat was going to be like, "Oh yeah, fuck Tiffany," and bite and attack, right?
yes. And
And
that's what
forget
it's come to.
totally what it was about, what it was
And
really about.
I do not like that at all, because it's not taking responsibility for your actions. Getting on there and crying, and
And that's why she was
a
crying
couple
too.
of I'm sorries, and then all of a sudden it turns around into this big bash fest. That's completely taking yourself out of the equation, and you no longer have to answer for your actions, because now it's just, more division, which it's the most ridiculous thing ever. I've never seen anything like this. I've watched a lot of cases and followed a lot. And I'm the type of person that I gather my facts. I go listen to streams that I may not even want to.
Yes.
And because I want to make sure that before I address something, like people in my chat now have gotten aggravated. Oh, you're still talking about this? Well, yeah, we're still talking about this today, because I have a channel and I have a right to get up here and give my opinion on it too. But I took the time to go and listen to everything. So that way, it was a lot of work to write down all those timestamps and quotes, but I'm glad I did, because we can't go back to it. I know that there's people that have recordings of it, but
Yeah,
come on.
I have it, but I want to say I respect you for it because there's a lot of creators that won't say anything. So I respect you for it. Plus, it gave me, you gave me a platform to come up and say what's really what I think is really going on here. I've been watching YouTube for 8 years. I don't watch TV. I watch YouTube. I'm addicted. Cool. I've watched everything. This shit that I've seen with the Summer Wells case has blown my mind. I cry for this little girl. I cry for this baby. And to me, it's a joke that you made a living. You wouldn't be on YouTube if it wasn't for the hate and the everything that you, okay, how did she come out? She came out with a CPS report, right? That she couldn't prove because it was from somebody that we can't
Yeah,
see.
it was third hand information. It wasn't,
Right. And look, I liked it because it was an open platform, a lot of people in chat talking. She does bring in a lot of people. I love that shit. So I stayed. But these last couple weeks, man, she really has shown who she is. These last couple days, even more to me, to get on. And why didn't she go on her own platform last night for 6 hours before she made that little stream? She didn't make that little stream till I confronted her. Right after I confronted her, she's like, "Oh, maybe I should go over there and start my own stream." Well, go, girl. But I ain't listening to that shit no more.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like a little tour last night, and then she ended up on her channel, but it was the same stuff that's already been said, and I watched the chat. People would run over to Tiffany's stream, and then they would come back and tell her, and by then, if you're only going to take um what people are saying in your chat and present it as fact, well, then you're failing already. Like, you
See,
can't do that, because we've
leave
all
her own
seen
work.
what
She
happens
says
with that.
she doesn't have time to watch all these other streams, blah, blah, blah. Well, you need to make time because you're presenting things that aren't true. And then to come out and attack your own supporters. This is how it happened. I took a screenshot of True Crime Commentary's post, okay, about her with the puppy. And she said, "Oh my God, I've told this person 100 million times to quit texting me negative shit." Girl, no, you haven't. Not one time. You live off that shit because how would you know anything else in YouTube was going on if we didn't tell you?
Yeah.
So then I confronted her and I said, "You just lied, Ziggy. You've been lying to me. I defended you and I hate that I ever did." And then she started the mocking thing, reading what I say. You are a Molly Golightly Jr. Bye, bitch.
Yeah,
Bye.
and that's kind of what she pulled with Tiffany too. Like, she had started telling people, lies about what Tiffany had texted her, and about the whole Tiffany saying that she gave her a lead. Tiffany never said that. She never said that she gave Ziggy a lead, but that's, she took it as that. What Tiffany was trying to say in her text message is, Ziggy, do you not think it's odd that I literally sat up on stream with that very location up on my screen for a few hours, and then all of a sudden someone's telling you they found bones? She was meaning that, do you not realize that people can see that on my stream, and just to mess with you and make you look foolish, they would go put some bones there? And let's keep in mind, these were clean bones. They were very bleached and clean. And if that was a burn site, someone had said in the chat earlier, it was decomp. It wasn't a burn site. If it was burned, the tree and everything and the weeds and all that would have been burned. And
Well,
yes,
it was clear to
animal
me from the
decomp
beginning
can
what it was.
leave animal decomp can leave that there too. And we are in the middle of hunting season.
Yeah, I mean,
So
that's as soon as I seen it, I thought that's a deer. And then at the end of her live, she was looking at pictures because people were sending her pictures of dead deer and saying they probably cleaned a deer out there and the animals came and picked the rest of whatever was left clean. Because if you ever lived in the country, you would know that's what happened. And Frank knew it too. Let's all be clear on that. Frank knew that those were not human remains.
but they all those people around that area, this is such a joke to them, because they like to pick on the people that will run with stuff. And unfortunately, they, whether it was meant for Ziggy or meant for Molly or meant for anyone else, they knew that someone would get sucked in and run with it, right? They knew, and they're laughing about it.
Yeah.
The family, they have a missing child. They've already made prank phone calls about Dawn going to Boston and this and that. And what are they? We've seen the things they do. And so it's come to the point now where this gives all creators like a bad name, right? Like,
Right.
everyone's going to think we're all gullible, and you just can't be reckless. And someone said something a few minutes ago about being a good Christian and gossiping. I've never, if anyone's just coming in, I encourage you to go back and rewind, because throughout this whole thing, I have not called Ziggy out of her name. I have not like just completely obliterated her. What's the point? I've simply looked at it from the investigation standpoint, reminded people of what she said throughout that stream, how she presented it to the public, And her statement where she said it won't mess up an investigation, I'm just letting people know it absolutely could. So we have to be careful. We do have a responsibility when we're reporting on these cases to bring facts, not our emotions, because this is a child's life at stake. A child who very well could have already lost her life. And if she is out there somewhere, I pray every day that they find her, and that I'm not even going to say that she's okay. She might be okay to an extent physically, but if she's found alive, then she's got years and years of therapy ahead of her. So, um we all have our emotions in it. We all get fired up and we react and we respond, but when it comes to presenting stuff that could be possible evidence, you just got to be careful. And that was my only point. Yes, I'm irritated as all get out with the things that she said about my friends, about the way she allowed her chat to talk about my friends. I know that my friends are strong, they're okay, but it was just, it turned into something that it wasn't even about. Just be careful. Do better next time, Ziggy. I mean, your credibility is shot with a lot of people, it's shot with me. I'll always second guess everything that she says now because I know what drives her now. Like, we've all gotten a glimpse of it.
And I just wanted to come on as a sub who watches everybody that covers this case and let everybody know how somebody from kind of the inside. I want to tell you how I first became skeptical of her, and it was about a week ago before she went down there. I text her. I woke up one morning and I was thinking about Molly Golightly and everybody down there making this a shit show, and I text her and I said this. I said, do you think that this baby will ever be found? Do you think that they're going to hold the people accountable? Do you think this is just going to be a cold case? I think about this all the time. I wish that somebody could just find Summer. And she didn't. It was the only time that I text her that she didn't reply. She is not there for Summer.
Yep.
And that's
Yeah,
all I have to say.
unfortunately. Like, I appreciate your input. It's nice to hear, like a little bit of the backstory because I mean, I'm watching the chat and there's people that I'm sure Tiffany didn't even realize that she had such negative feelings about her for weeks now. And, it's when you find stuff out like that, someone that you thought that you were having conversations with and you're on good terms with. I mean, creators share information all the time, right? But we don't always let everyone know everything we have in our pockets or what we know because there's just a method to doing it. You can't just take every little thing you see and hear and just blurt it out there because there's some very real people behind all of this that are affected. And that includes the thousands of viewers that follow these cases. You get an emotional attachment. I mean, especially as mothers or as parents, grandmothers, anyone, how can you not get attached to a child's case? I mean, I'm a mom. I have an 8-year-old who's not much older than Summer. I couldn't imagine how I would feel if something happened to her.
I have a 6-year-old grandson, and when I seen those bones, I was just thinking, what is she thinking? First of all, I knew it was not human remains. But the whole point is, it's just like you just read it. She said multiple times it looked like little human remains.
Yep.
Then why are
Good.
you showing it to YouTube right now?
And using the words, it looks like not an adult human, but a small human. Like, there's just, this whole thing could have been avoided. But I appreciate you coming up here and thank you for watching. I've
Thank you
seen
for
you
having
around.
me. Thank you guys. Thank you, everyone.
All right, I'm going to start wrapping it up here. So,
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
bye. So, yes, that's a good question, Dave the teddy bear dog. We don't know if TBI found them. That's kind of what I want to know. I was hoping for a follow up, that yes, she's spoken to someone at TBI, and it was definitely, I mean, I know she said like less than 12 hours later that it had been confirmed that um, it was animal bones. That seems pretty fast to me. Um, Even if they looked at it and gave a preliminary assessment of yes, it's animal bones, the way we would do it here in my jurisdiction is we would go ahead and send something off to just have, concrete confirmation because it's a child's case. So I don't know. I don't know if anything has been done. So um, I know that I missed some super chats, guys. Chat was moving really fast. I did see them. I don't remember everyone's names, but I do want to thank you very much for doing that. Thanks, everyone, for being here listening. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse. I'm not trying to annihilate Ziggy. Um, just next time, do better. Don't go out there messing around with things that um, you're not experienced in. Take what people in the area who are close to the case or know the family, take everything with a grain of salt. Gypsy, welcome to membership. We do have a responsibility as creators, and I'm telling you that I have nothing but the utmost respect for a few creators. Tiffany is one of them, despite popular opinion. Um, she's never failed me when it comes to the information department. Everything is solid and it is presented with a lot of forethought and planning and research and, verification. It's let's not what happened in Summer's case. Let's try to avoid that happening again in the future. Um, That's really all I have to say. I am still working on Taylor McAllister's case. I wanted to give her family a couple of weeks. The anniversary of Taylor's death just passed at the end of December, and they actually lost another daughter um, after Taylor, and that anniversary was in January. It just passed. They had a daughter who died of an accidental overdose because she was distraught over losing her sister. So there are things I'm working on, but like I've said before, I put a lot of effort and I do seek families' permission before I speak on things because it is an emotional, touchy situation. Rabbit hole goes deep. Welcome. So be looking forward to that. I will be reporting on Taylor McAllister soon. Of course, I'm still in contact with Lisa Key, Aaron Key's mom, so we'll be talking more about that. And that's another thing that bothers me is Aaron's case is in Tennessee, and the creators are not making a good impression. It comes in with the TI. So why I need TI um, let's what social media provided for us. It's an amazing platform to get on here and talk about things. We just, we're human. We all make mistakes, but the mistake made, apology. It didn't have to go anything any further than that. The trashing Tiffany and pretty much putting all the focus on the hatred of her was just that was tacky AF. I don't know. So make sure you go to Tiffany, one of the mods, drop the link in there. Um, that way you can go back and listen to things, and hear it for yourself. Tiffany loves little girl. So let's about Summer. Let's get about the other victims in these cases. You guys, the YouTube streets are rough right now. Sometimes I want to hide. But, I have a duty here as well. Be kind to each other. Try to get the whole story before you run off speculation and rumor. Let's just do better as a whole. Remember to hug your family and loved ones. You never know what day could be your last. We're never promised a tomorrow, and I will be talking to you guys soon. Members, thank you for the super chats. I appreciate each and every one of you. And everyone, have a good evening. I think Tiffany said she's going to do a panel later. So head on over there and get involved in that. And I will be talking to all of you guys soon. Bye.